Hello everyone, on this lab I'm going to show you how you can use Autopilot with your Hybrid AD setup. So basically whenever you have new devices or existing devices you want to import it to enroll it to Intune, right? What do we need? So here's the process flow. Basically the most important thing we need to get is register hardware hashes, or you could ask your hardware vendor to import it to your Intune portal. You will have limited access to your portal. And then from there you will just connect your laptop or your existing device, corporate device, add the required deployment service or group policies. All this it will be done within, we can do it with this lab. So follow my guide over here. What do we need? So I'm assuming you will have, you will create or you will have existing infrastructure on premises. You can do it also virtualize it. So this is my virtualized setup. I have my Hyper-V lab. I have two domain controller, Windows 22 and 2019. I'm going to join this new laptop to the autopilot. So for now, what do we have in Windows 2019? I just installed Windows 29 and add a new role as Active Directory role and name, promote my domain to domain. What else do we need on the cloud side? So on the cloud side, one requirement is to have a user with license, Intune license. You basically will have business premium or F3, E5, all these licenses comes with Intune. So you could set up a trial version. After you set up the trial version, you can also use, even if expired, you can use another, if you could search from marketplace from your admin, the admin cloud Microsoft. So let's follow the step by step I mentioned here, added as a note. So device registration, let's hold this one. On-premise part, let's start with group policy. Let's enable the MDM enrollment for the default AD. You will go to group policy management and you basically link it to your organization unit that will be added to your autopilot later. So all the devices will be connected to your domain control. It's better to create an organization unit that's only for these devices, and this organization unit you can link MDM enrollment on it. So you can basically link create new group policy and enable it. So where you can find this group policy. So in computer configuration, Windows, no, over here, Windows policies, administrative. So on Windows component, Windows, if you go down, you will find MDM, and here you will have the first setting. It's just enable this setting, and you just enable it. Just say enable. Basically, we did the step number 2. Step number 3. Let's add our let's make our on-premise Active Directory to Hybrid link. So what we're going to do from your basically your admin center. If you go to show all and you go to identity, it will directly to Intra. So Microsoft.com, and from here you go to Microsoft Connect. So if our domain is hybrid, you have to install the agent connect sync, which is synchronization service to your cloud 360. So we download software over here. You click. You can also sign in from the same place. Log into the browser from the same place. I basically have it here on the download, and I start the installation. So here's our installation started. Let's make the screen a bit bigger. Let's use express settings. You use one of the users that's active and assign active Intune license to it. So I'm using. So for our this lab setup, you're going to use the free on Microsoft's account. So that we don't need to add like resolvable the domain name service. So because this is from my trial test account, and also I have the hybrid menu local lab. Make sure this account also enable in your phone, which is multi-factor authentication, where you will sign in and it will basically do it. Let me complete the step and I will. So we complete the sign in. So here we add you will write your domain controller and you will use one of the administrative account. You can give it also one of the like uh, domain enterprise administration account after you sign in. So basically, this is our UPS suffix, so it will be resolvable to our own Microsoft domain. So we'll just connect it and continue without matching the UPN suffix. This is because we are using test lab. So we're going to start the synchronization process once we complete the installation. And with this, we make our on-premise Active Directory to Hybrid AD join via Microsoft 360. So synchronization, it will synchronize most of the service from like organization need users to the online Active Directory, to the Intune portal and also within Microsoft 360. So synchronization completed. So there's a command prompt you can do for checking the Delta connection or synchronization, or you can get it from Action Synchronization Service Manager, and you do it for your domain, and you could do it for synchronization. After it will run, it will import. You can see number of users at date. So assume this one, it add one of the distinguished user over here. So yes, this is all set up. As you can see here, it's able to sync with Microsoft 6 Cloud 360. So we did finish step 3. We connect, we enable the setup. We need to make sure that the sync here over here is enabled. If we mention, it will say all sync. It should be refreshed. It will be updated. Basically, the Microsoft, you need to be patient also with the portal of Microsoft. In general cloud, it will be a bit sometimes slow to update that for. So second thing what we need to do is we can also run the Intune connector. So from the Intune connector you can also show, and you click Intune, so it will directly to Intune. So here our setup. Just let me make sure. Yeah, basically doing. Okay, no problem. We going to complete the Intune. On the Intune, basically we'll go to devices. We have Windows, and in Windows you go to Enrollment. So Enrollment, we need to add the Intune connector for our Active Directory. You will say add, and you will download also this agent. Also there's learn more before you need to also say the service. And how can you do this? Those are the software you need to install. So just follow the information in order to fully able to download it. So let's go to our domain control, and we already had, yes, you need to install this web runtimer in order to able to run the Intune connector. So basically I have it over here and I already installed it. So it's just quick installation, and once you open it, it will say let's. So for confusion, I just uninstall it and I run it again. During installation, it will ask you also to sign in. Configure now. Sign in for enrollment. So this step will not work if you don't have the web installed. Make sure you sign into the same account you use for with Intune license active user. So after this one is connected, we basically successful enrollment, and basically we'll have a managed service account will created by default, and it will be running in the background. So right now we are done with this step into connect the group policy, and basically we will be ready for the second thing. We need to add device group. So device group, we need to add it on the Intune dashboard. So let's go to Intune. So after, once you add it over here, you will see it active. The Intune connector is active the last time it sync. Also the same thing for if you go for, so no problem. So let's go over here and we are going to see we're going to add yes device dynamic device group. So what this will do, so we will use this group in order to link it to all the profile we will create later, and also any like configuration compliance or app deployment. We're just going to add it to this dynamic group. So any device it will automatically assign to this group, and it will start getting the information from autopilot profile. Then it will fetch the information from the like domain join request via the connector. So let's go to the Intune portal, and you can see here there's groups, and we're going to add new group. It's a security group. You can name it something distinguished. Let's say auto pilot device one. You can name information about it, and you make sure you make it a dynamic devices, and you can add the query. So on the dynamic query membership, you need to add expression over here. You can need to edit first, and you need to copy paste add this one. So this information we get from the documentation, and I add here also a step by step, which is will identify the autopilot devices, and it will automatically dynamically assign it to the group. After I save, I save it over here, so it look like this, and automatically assign the group. Yes, so right now we have one devices, it's autopilot, but I will add the new Windows laptop shortly. So right now we completed step. Next one you need, so this one add a group called autopilot devices, and then we do next and we create. Let's delete this one. So let's start our setup. So assuming this is a new laptop, immediately after like starting this one, it will start the setup, but you can just press Shift 10 or F if you're using VM virtual machine. Make sure it's connected to the internet, just facebook.com. So assuming this is working, let's go to our setup. We need PowerShell. And let's set the execution policy bypass. Okay, the autopilot info, Windows info process. So I will just save for this. From here, let's go to install script. But okay, let's install script and its name get Windows autopilot info. Say yes to all. Yes, default, enter. So after the last one is also default is no, just set to I. Yes. So now what you can do, let's press up. Here's the long digit hardware hash. So the obstacle is how you can import it to Windows, to Intune. So we're going to make it as an output file. So let's put it on C. Let's say as autopilot hash .csv. And we, because it's a bit like a you don't want to like switch to all this how to copy it. We just open the Explorer. It's come with Windows, and from here you can see the file. So we need to import it. We can open directly Internet Explorer from here. So Let's open Explorer. It will automatically open Edge. Edge is better way by default. So let's log into our Intunes from here. Let's say into Microsoft. And you use your, let me log into my account. So you can just say no. So approval, let me approve it. Make sure the account you use to set up have its multi-factor authentication here. You can test it like login from normal browser, and then scan the code or install Microsoft Authenticator. Um, so let's go to, you expand this one, you go devices, you go enrollment, and from enrollment, as you can see over here, we did all this. We need to import the hardware hashes. So we did the dynamic group autopilot profile, and we need to import the register hardware hashes. So enrollment, we go to devices, and here we need to import. So open, we browse our setup, import, and we say import. I also, when we did import, you see the check sign, which is like the format is of the CSV is valid. It will take a while until it appears here, maybe five minutes. So it's a bit slow, but let's wait for it and update you. After it's assigned, it will automatically check the profile and it assign the profile the Windows autopilot profile, and the dynamic group, it will automatically assign to this profile, so it will already link with this hardware hashes. With this, we almost done. Let's continue. On step 6, we are going to create an autopilot deployment profile. We already create the dynamic group. So from Intune portal, we're going to go devices, enrollment, and we already import the hardware hash from here. We are going to create the deployment profile. So why we're not using the autopilot? This is called version 2, autopilot version 2. This doesn't support hybrid join devices. For our scenario, we're going to use hybrid join. So let me show you this one, then we're going to test this one, because this is new version, this is like new update by Microsoft, but it's not supported for the hybrid join devices. So when we create auto deployment profile, let's say this is our WDC deployment. Convert all devices to autopilot, so yes. So this is the out of the box experience. Here's the setup when we have our new devices, what will it will say. So it will be by the deployment, because we're deploying hybrid join, we need to use user driven. For self deploying is cloud only, intra join. So we're going to say hybrid join, skip AD connectivity. No, yes. So we're not going to skip the AD connectivity check, because we are going to add the device to the domain. So this one should be checked. So we're going to hide any unnecessary like user settings. Our user base standard. So for devices, we're not going, because hybrid join devices are not going to use device naming. So this naming will be created from the domain join configuration. I will show you in the next step. So let's assign our group. This is the group we created for the autopilot devices, and we create it. Let's do a refresh. It will take yes, and on the assign it will say yes. If it may take time, how can I make sure from the devices? And you will see here assignment also required attention. So select how to change. So yes, it will update the status after its deployment start. So this is also enrollment status page. During our setup, what will happen. So let's delete this one. Or yeah, just we're going to use the same one. The setting, the description is just one WTC enrollment. So our domain is called WTC. It will just show information about where is the file configuration in the progress. So if it takes more than 60 minutes, like 1 hour, will it send an error back to the server or like the Intune portal? It will also show in the logs, the reports, and also like collect connectivity log collection and diagnosis for the end users. So it will tell us like if the application, some of the application configuration failed or the AD join failed. It will show us the details of what's happening. I'll allow user to reset devices. So all these steps is optional. You can set it yes or no. One of the also important details about if we need to block the devices until so during this during the installation or for the software or AD join connectivity, should we allow the user to continue using the devices or not? Because this is like could be important thing. There's a policy to be applied. So let's do this setting to say no. So this is the information. Allow users to use devices. Allow users to reset the devices, block the devices until. So yes, most of the configuration we set it. I will just say all same setup. With this, we added our devices. We created the deployment profile, and we already have our Intune connectors active. It's green. So all this Windows Autopilot is done on the part. There is a one configuration for configuration to add the device to the domain. So we need to do it from Windows. You go to configuration. So all the configuration settings. Let it load. So all Windows configuration from this top, you will choose a platform. Our platform will be Windows 10 and more because domain join from here. So you will see different setup. If you need to change something on the settings or properties or templates, it will have list of information like administrative template. Like if you need any to do like Active Directory or group policy changes from here, even the device restriction as well. So we're going for our case, we're going to choose domain join. Let's say WDC domain join configuration. Because we didn't set on the deployment profile the device name, we can set it from here. So we can name our device Autopilot, the prefix. Yes. Yes, you can just say prefix. And the DC domain. So it should be around 15 character long, and the other 15 will be random. So our domain is called WDC20, and the organization unit for our which organization unit will be mapped, the devices will be assigned to. So let's go our domain controller, and we choose the organization unit that we choose for our autopilot devices. On the properties attribute, we are going to copy this information view. Yes. We're going to paste here. We're going to add the autopilot devices group. So this application additional information, but we don't need to have any more details. So we added the configuration join device. We can also, there's like more details about if you, because I already set it here, can set it up like local administrator, local admin password solution. Says settings with it. Also, we can enable with local encryption. Can also enable our endpoint. So also in the compliance part. So all this is possible after the device join to Intune to Autopilot. It will can be easily configurable with these settings. We can do it later, but for now, let's make sure our devices can be added to let's test our out of the box experience. There's one more information about like the enrollment process, because we can also check the device limit restriction. So we can say like, for example, this one is not needed for the lab test, but you can test it. So how many like maximum number of user for one user account can enroll. So our Mac AD can enroll like only 15 devices. Also, there's additional restriction, also device platform restriction. So this is for Intune users, for Windows. Um, if so, right now all devices assigned to MDM. Let's focus. Let's continue our setup to out of the box experience now. So we did step 6, step 7, and now we're going to test our out of the box experience. So on this setup, you're going to deploy the new laptop or existing laptop. You will just reset it, and in order to add to autopilot. So let's start our out of the box experience. We connect our new laptop to the cable, and we start the connection. We start the PC, laptop, or device. Remember that we already did import our hardware hash. If you want to import it again, like for if this was another laptop, you want to import it from Shift F10, you install Windows Switcher and you continue the same setup as I show you over here from step 1. For now, let's use our account. Any user from these users, which already has Intune license, Microsoft E3 Business Premium or Business, all include Intune feature. With Intune, it has already comes with Autopilot. So let's log in. For this, because I'm using the trial version, I use a Microsoft account. If this was my domain, I already purchased domain, so I will rename it WDC20. And during the Internet Connect sync, I will add the UPN suffix to it, the UPN domain to it. Let's make sure this one is correct. So after it restart itself, and let's wait. All this part of the enrollment status where it starts the device configuration or setup. On the background, it will fetch all the related details from Autopilot and the configuration it's to be deployed. So the deployment time of the out-of-the-box experience may take like half an hour to even until like 1 hour. If any error occur during the deployment, we already have option collection of diagnostic program logs, and we will review we'll do the troubleshooting with you also. But so far it's going well. Until now the setup take like 10 minutes. We're just waiting. Restart again to add the device to a hybrid domain. On the background, let's see also what's happening if the device disappeared. It may appear on Windows devices. So we can see this device just been added. So it's add autopilot dash, and we see it's the enrollment is already working. So this is a good sign. At least we have device right now. And let's wait for the deployment to continue. So the autopilot process in the background completed. We need to see if the device added to the domain. So we can see here there's already indication that this domain is part of the domain. Let's sign using one of our users in the domain. We can say this user. So all this done in already on the background. Also we can see one from Intune dashboard. You can see the process, or if any process is stopped or anything, any of the steps not configured correctly. So the Windows update says by default there is already ring update, and the device domain configuration is being succeeded. So we can also add, let's add setup one of the application we added. There's one information also. We can set up local administrator. It just take a few times to set it up. Let's enable it from the setup. But first, let's make sure the device is logging, and also the group policy already applied to it. So one of our group policy should be applied. Should have this desktop setting. So it's just a icon with google.com, because it's part of this. We have on-prem enrollment is enabled, and the shortcut